This is a 2007 Honda Rebel 250. It's got 24,000 miles on it, and it's one of the most recognizable and utilitarian motorcycles to have ever existed. That is a Boom BD250-5 Chinese bike in a box from Venom Motorsports. And today I'm going to prove that this Honda Rebel 250 is better than a Chinese bike in a box in every single way, shape, and form. Let's find out why. If you guys tuned in for our Chinese bike exposed video, we're gonna be running the exact same tests today on the Honda Rebel 250. I've got my Wahoo bike computer once again conscripted for duty. This thing's gonna give us GPS speeds. We're gonna get accurate 0 to 60, top speed. We're gonna check the performance on this thing. We're gonna get MPGs as well. And at the end of the video, we're gonna compile all those same data points that we got for the Boom BD250 and compare against this Rebel 250, because I really think that this thing is going to be better in every single way, yes, including acceleration. Now, why do I say that? Well, this bike is often thought of as the slow, dumpy, dorky little beginner bike. You've probably seen these little motorcycles in your MSF class. These are kind of the bog standard bikes that you would find at the MSF because they're so easy to ride. They're low powered, low seat height, very approachable, turnkey reliable, and they'll just turn mile after mile pretty much forever. Again, this is a 2007 model that features about 24,000 miles on the clock, so it's a pretty tired example, but I think that this motorcycle is better than the Boom in every single way, shape, and form. Let's swing a leg over this machine, let's get it out on the road, and let's get those data points. All right, let's compare the sound of the Rebel to the Boom. Go ahead and start this bad boy up. You'll have to excuse the lumpiness. This is quite dangly here. Let's hold this in place. I honestly think it sounds better. Not by much, but a little bit.
Look, swinging a leg over the Rebel. I just filled it up with gas here at the shop, so it's full up on gas. We're gonna try to do the exact same tests we did with the Boom. So we're gonna go on the same highway, same 0 to 60, same everything. Go ahead and start her up. Nice buttery smooth idle. We're gonna start our ride here on the Wahoo. All right, the ride is started. That's miles per hour, that's total miles. Bike is full up. We're gonna go to a gas station after we ring it out for a little bit. We'll see our fuel consumption. I'm gonna ride it about 36 to 40 miles or so to check how much fuel we use. So let's go and take it for a spin. Literally just leaving from the shop, the bike already feels better than the Boom. It feels stronger. The handling feels way more predictable, even on these, like, you know, Honda Rebel spec tires. And the fact that this bike is, you know, how old is this bike? 16 years old, something like that? Speedo looks to be pretty accurate, I gotta say. Looks like I'm reading 35, so already better equipment than the Boom. It already feels much more confidence-inspiring than the Boom. Like, yeah, it's still a jank little Honda 250 Rebel, but I have way more confidence in the front end and the stability of the chassis overall. The Boom definitely made me feel like it was gonna go boom at any moment's notice. And this bike definitely feels like it's way easier to keep at highway speeds than the Boom. I guarantee you guys, I haven't pulled the data yet, but I guarantee you that this bike is not only faster 0 to 60, but also has a better top speed than the Boom. I'm really excited to test this out today. Really excited. I love beating up on that stupid Chinese bike. All right, ladies and gentlemen, top speed test with the Honda Rebel 250. I think we grabbed top gear there. That was 5th. We're already doing about 65 miles an hour. I'm actually full pin on it right now. I can't go any more. And I can't seem to grab another gear. Yeah, there's no gear to grab, so this is it. It's about as fast as it'll go. 68.7 miles per hour going up this hill here. Not really doing a whole lot, but we're gonna go down that hill over there because that was exactly what we did with the Chinese bike, and I want to see what kind of speeds we can get, because I think this thing can hit 80 on a downhill with a slight tailwind and maybe a full tuck. 66 is all she wrote in this section, so we'll see. All right, folks, I think that's all she has here for top speed. Looked like 71.8 or something like that, but we'll pull the figures off of the Wahoo after we complete our loop and gather all the important data. All right, folks, 0 to 60 test on the Rebel 250. I'm gonna resume my ride here. My Wahoo thinks I've stopped, and I have, but that's because I'm trying to get a spicy acceleration pull. It just has to be faster than 17 seconds. Surely it can do that, right? I think a Grom does it in 13. We've got more displacement, more cylinders. It's gotta be possible.
Now look, brother, I'm a serious kind of guy. I mean, you can kind of tell, can't you? And when I want serious protection for my phone, only one brand I reach for, and that is Rockform. Now look, you get the phone case, you pair it with whatever you want, it magnetizes to anything you need it to magnetize to, and that's gonna be a great time for you. Put your phone anywhere you need. Best of all, get yourself a stem mount, get yourself a handlebar mount, you're gonna be good to go. Seriously. Fans of the Yam are going to get 25% off by clicking that link down below, and that's the best deal I can give for you. So if you're serious like me, get serious about your phone protection. Go Rockform.
And 60, right there. All right. That definitely felt faster than the Boom, to gather some non-objective feelings out of this thing. I want to see how it handles the twisties. So I'm continuing to ride the Rebel 250 here, just slapping up some miles on it, trying to get that MPG. I'm up to 30.6 miles on the clock. A lot of that highway, and now we're into the twisties. And honestly, having ridden the Rebel now for at least an hour or so, doing these 30 miles, the thing I can tell you is that it's infinitely more confidence-inspiring than the Boom BD250. It is ridiculous how much more confidence-inspiring it is than the Boom. Side to side here, I trust this motorcycle. I have inherent confidence in it. When I get it over on the side of the tire, I can really tell that it wants to stay in one place. It wants to carve a line. The Boom does this thing where it keeps doing this, you know, whereas the Rebel, it's a real motorcycle, guys. Like, this is the real deal. It's got an honest-to-God Honda frame. It was designed appropriately, designed correctly. And even this old 2007 model with 24,000 miles on the clock and churning more and more, I really feel like I'm going to get taken care of with this bike. The one area I would say that it's lacking a little bit is the front brake, and that could just be basic service that needs to get done. Maybe the pads need to get bled a little bit. I can tell that, you know, maybe the pivot point needs to be greased a little bit. Maybe you just need to service the master cylinder here and just get that nice and lubed up. It looks like the fluid's a little old, you know. I think you could get this brake to actually feel good. And guess what? It's a single disc. It doesn't need dual discs like the Boom BD250 has. And I gotta say, I don't know, the Rebel's it's a pleasant place to be. I'm comfortable. I mean, riding the Boom BD250 has really made me reevaluate these humble little Japanese bikes that people start on. We did a review on the Rebel 250 a long time ago, and ultimately I walked away saying I think it's a fantastic motorcycle for its use case, which is beginner riders. And other people on the channel, they mentioned that it was the worst bike ever and they couldn't believe how poorly it rode and blah blah blah, and I didn't really agree with that opinion back then, and I still don't, because this bike actually rides very well. If you compare it against something literally unrideable like the Boom BD250, the Rebel feels great. It's doing everything a motorcycle needs to do. It flicks over, it holds a line, the throttle's responsive, it's doing everything it needs to do. Am I cutting up lap records on this thing? Of course not, guys, but that's not the point of it, you know? Like, yeah, I'm losing speed going up the hill, but I still made it up the hill, you know? Hill's back there. I'm over here. It's better than walking, you know? And so I'm really impressed with the Rebel's ability side to side when compared to a Chinese bike in a box that, I will remind you again, cost me $3,200 or something like that, you know? This motorcycle fundamentally feels way better than that freaking Boom BD250. So I'm gonna wrap up my miles here. I'm hoping to hit about 45 or so. I'm gonna fill it up, tell you guys the MPGs, the top speed, the 0 to 60, all that good stuff, and show you why this bike is better than the Boom in every single way.
Here we are back in the shop. We've collected all of our data today with the Rebel 250, and guys, it's not looking good for the Boom. So all of these metrics here we found when we last tested the Boom BD250. All these numbers are from our exposed video. They're exactly the same. So let's go ahead and start ripping the band-aids off, shall we? Top speed on the Boom is 77.8 miles per hour recorded with the GPS bike meter. On the Rebel 250, we saw 86.7 miles per hour, nearly 10 miles per hour faster than the Boom BD250. Now, MPG was one where I really thought the Boom would win out because it's a smaller engine. It's theoretically more fuel efficient according to what they say, but we saw 52.8 MPGs. I tried to replicate the route as closely as possible as I could with the Honda Rebel. You're pretty much wide open all the time anyways on these little bikes, and I actually got 71.8 miles to the gallon on the Rebel 250, which is pretty impressive. So 0 to 60. That was one where the Boom, there was no data of it online. We had to actually go out and measure 17.1 painstaking seconds to 60 on the Boom BD250. But for the Rebel 250, we did it in 15 seconds flat. Now, that's obviously not scorching fast, but it's a little beginner bike. It's a Rebel 250. We explicitly chose the Rebel because we wanted to try to make it fair for the Boom BD250. If we brought in a Ninja 300 or a 250 or even a 400 Ninja, it just wouldn't have worked at all. That's why we try to do it with this bike, and still the Rebel is faster, both 0 to 60 and top speed. Now the CCs is pretty obvious. The Boom features that cheater 229cc single trail engine Honda CRF 230 clone. The Rebel is a patrician 249cc parallel twin, as we've found out. The red line I thought was interesting, right? We found out that the Boom was a big fat liar. 6,500 RPM was all it could really achieve. The Rebel 250, a little bit higher. 8,650 RPM is the total for the Rebel. Now, weight I thought was gonna be interesting. I think about the Rebel and I think, okay, big bulky frame, heavy cruiser sort of thing. I thought for sure it'd be around 340 pounds. Well, we actually got it on the scales here at Yami Noob HQ, and it clocked in at 311 pounds, wet and ready to ride. 29 pounds lighter than the BD250 with more performance to boot too. So the cost, this is the one that I thought was most interesting. The BD250 I bought brand new for $3,088. I put $3,400 under here because if you consider tax, title, and license and some other fees, I assume you're gonna get to around $3,400 to get this thing road registered and legal, which I did not do because I'm not gonna go and pay taxes on a bike that will probably end up in flames anyways. The Honda Rebel, the Kelly Blue Book value for a 2007 with reasonable miles like this one, $1,700, folks. Half the price of this $3,400 here. Even if you assume you're gonna spend a couple bucks, forgot a zero right there, that should be 2,000. Even if you're gonna be spending a little bit to fix it up, taxes, registration, all that, I think all in, $2,000 is the very most you would ever spend on a Rebel 250. Now these final 2 points here are more squishy. We're talking reliability and feeling. For reliability for the Boom, I just put LOL. I mean, seriously, that thing's probably gonna be lucky to go 1,500 miles without just nuking itself into oblivion. And for the feeling, as you guys have seen in my vlogs and on track with Brandon, it's terrifying, it's bad, the frame does all kinds of weird stuff. It does not feel good to ride at all. The Honda Rebel, well folks, for reliability, it's a Honda. It's gonna run forever. This example proves it. 24,000 miles on the clock. Go ahead and spin miles on these things. They'll go all day long. I spent about 60 miles in the saddle today with the Honda Rebel, and I felt confident, easy to ride, fun motorcycle. I would feel comfortable putting anybody on this bike over that bike. So folks, I hope this is the very last nail in the coffin that I have to put in to put the BD250 into its grave. Nobody should buy a Chinese bike in a box. I rented this really humble, honest little Rebel 250, and it clobbered the BD250 in every single metric I could possibly think of. Top speed, miles per gallon, 0 to 60, CCs, redline, weight, cost, reliability, and feeling. Why are you buying that bike? Go ahead and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to hear it from you. Thanks so much for watching, folks, and a big shout out to Rockform for supporting today's video. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later. I can't keep watching you hurt yourself like this. You're out here doing fat supercharged wheelies on your H2s, doing stupid nooners on your Groms. If you just watched Yammy Noob right here, you keep watching it, you could save yourself from this. I can't keep watching you hurt yourself. I just can't. I can't do it anymore. Please keep watching Yammy Noob. I don't want you to hurt yourself, please.